That is wild.
Incredible.
Right? I mean, amazing stuff. All right, Kim's here now, and we're making a transition into La Nina.
Right.
And this is causing a ton of conversation among folks online, right?
Because typically when we say that, people think of colder, snowier, but there's a little change this year in that transitioning from El Nino to La Nina this year is happening very late. In fact, it's only been this late 4 times since 1950. And so the reason that's important is because typically when it transitions this late, it's a much weaker La Nina. So this is the typical pattern that we would have with the jet stream. By the way, for those of you that need a little refresher, El Nino, it's the warmer waters of the Pacific, the surface temps in parts of the Pacific. La Nina transitions to cooler, and that affects the tropical moisture from Indonesia to South America. There won't be a test, don't worry. Here's what it means to you. Typically, you'd be wetter than normal, and temperatures would be anywhere from normal to maybe slightly above normal. But this is the outlook that came out today from the Climate Prediction Center, and they're putting us for temperatures from December to February as above average, but only slightly above average. But for precip, we are going to be above average. But they don't outlook for snow. They just any kind of precipitation. Now, think about it. If we have warmer air and we're wetter, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll have more snow. It could mean we have more rain or freezing rain and ice, just depending on, these are averages. So it doesn't mean that we won't still have cold weather, dry weather. We'll fluctuate between, as we always do. It's just going to depend on when that moisture comes in. If we're in the middle of a warming trend, obviously we're going to have rain or maybe even freezing rain. But if it happens to come when it's a cold period, then we're going to get more in the way of snow. So it's just something we'll just have to keep monitoring here over the next month or so and get a better handle on what we're expecting. But over the next, 7 days, we're expected to be warmer than normal. And those outlooks also depend on what our weather's been the last several years, which we've had some very warm winters. 60 in Detroit, 58 in Ann Arbor, upper 50s in Pontiac, ridge of high pressure keeping us nice and dry for the next several days. So your forecast for tonight, clear skies. There is going to be some frost, not as widespread as last night, but definitely it will be cold when you wake up tomorrow morning. Winds out of the south at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, sunshine, and we finally get back to our normal temps in the low 60s. In fact, just a little bit above that at 64 degrees. And then we start a nice warming trend for the weekend, not just with the highs, but also those overnight lows. So if you saved your mums or some of your really sensitive plants and you've had to pull them in every single night, by the end of the weekend, certainly you won't have to do that anymore.
Which is great.